Okay guys, we're going to convert between standard form and vertex form. So we're going to go between two forms. Okay, so the first one we talked about recently, it's just vertex form. So y equals a, x minus h plus k. And our vertex is just our h and our k values. Okay, standard form we've talked about when we were solving quadratics. That's when we have it as ax squared plus bx plus c. Now if you notice, our a match, but the other letters do not. Now when we find our vertex for standard form, the way to find our h value, or our h point, is negative b over 2a. Now in order to find k, we'll get that h value and then we'll plug it in to find out what k would be. Now if I go from vertex to standard form, okay, we're going to rewrite our parentheses twice, distribute the a to the first set, multiply or FOIL our parentheses, and then combine like terms. So let's take a look at an example. Okay, so at this example, the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do, since I noticed it's in vertex form, we're going to write it in standard form. So I have y equals negative 2, and then since it's x plus 1 squared, that means I can just write the x plus 1 twice. And then minus 4. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative 2 to both of the first parentheses, just the first one. So I have y equals negative 2x minus 2. Okay. Then I have x plus 1 and minus 4. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and distribute these parentheses that I have now. So my new set of parentheses. So 2x times x is negative 2x squared. Negative 2x times 1 is negative 2x. Negative 2x times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And then don't forget to bring that 4 down, just minus 4. Okay, this is what y equals. So now I can go ahead and combine my like terms. Okay, so I have y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x. And then negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Okay? Remember, we want it to look like y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's exactly what I have, so that is my answer. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Same thing, I have y equals, and we're going into standard form, so I can just rewrite that as x minus 3 twice. Okay, then plus 6. Now I'm going to distribute that, so I have y equals x times x is x squared. X times negative 3x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And don't forget to bring down that plus 6. Okay? Now I can go ahead and combine like terms. So y equals x squared minus 6x. Then 9 plus 6 is 15. Okay? That's it. So we just multiply it out, combine like terms, and then that's how we go from vertex form to standard form. Now when we go the other way, when we go from standard form to vertex form, first we're going to just identify the a because our a values are going to be the same. Okay? And remember, when we want vertex form, we need our h and our k. So we're going to have to find the vertex, which is our h and k. All right, so once we figure out what h and k are, we can take our a, h, and k and plug them into our vertex form, which was y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example. All right, guys, so for the first step for when I'm going from standard form to vertex form, first I need to figure out what my a is. Well, my a is just 3. Okay. Now, when I find my h value, okay, remember h is just opposite of b over 2a. Okay? So opposite of positive 6 is negative 6 over 2 times 3, or 2 times my a, which is 6. So negative 6 over 6 is just negative 1. Okay? So now that my h value, okay, in order to find k, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my h value and plug it in to find my k. Okay, so k is going to equal 3 times negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1, then just minus 1. Now, you can just put that exactly as you see it in the calculator with those parentheses. When I plug that in, I get negative 4. So that means that k is going to be negative 4. If you don't use a calculator, you need to be very careful with your signs and make sure that you're accounting for the negative or whatever signs are there. Okay? So now I have my k value, I have my h value, and I have my a value. So I'm going to plug this into y equals ax minus h squared plus k. So I'm going to plug my values in now. So I have y equals, my a was 3, x minus negative 1, which I just know will make this a plus 1. Okay, remember, h is always opposite, so that's another thing to think of. And then just minus 4, since my k was negative 4. And there's my answer. Okay, here's another example. Okay, so remember, our a is just 1, so a is 1. Okay, so now I have to find my h, which h is negative b over 2a, or opposite of b over 2a. So opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. Over 2 times 1 is just 2. Okay. So that's going to be 3. So if you want to put the h up there as 3 to kind of keep track of them, you can. Now remember, once we find our h, to find k, we just plug it into our x values. So k equals 3 squared minus 6 times 3 minus 4. Okay, 3 squared is 9, minus 18 minus 4. Okay, 9 minus 18 is negative 9 minus 4, which would be negative 15. Oh, not negative 15, sorry, negative 13. Okay, and that's our k value. So then now, since we have our a, h, and k, we can go ahead and plug in our numbers. So we have y equals 1, or I could just put nothing there since it's just 1, x minus 3 squared minus 13. And there is our equation in vertex form. Okay, so how can we find the vertex of a parabola in standard form? That's kind of what we just did. So we can find h by doing negative b over 2, or negative b over 2a, or opposite of b over 2a, and then plug in, so plug h in for x's to find k. That's how we can find our vertex given standard form, or in standard form. Okay, go ahead and get started on your video note or your practice problems, and make sure you ask questions if you have them.